Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to panic, all right? I'm not talking about panicking at the disco. I'm talking about panicking on these 8 fantasy football players, one of which that you probably drafted first overall in your league at the running back position. Jonathon Taylor, I'm calling your number, buddy. What are we doing this year, man? You are letting so many people down. I know you're not completely healthy, so I can't blame it all on you. Your offensive line just looks absolutely horrible as well. JT is a guy, like I said, you most likely drafted this dude either first overall or with your first, running back position pick. He's currently sitting at running back number 33, man. Only 4 to 5 games this guy has been healthy completely. He didn't practice Wednesday again due to an ankle injury, or Thursday. He's not going to be playing this week, guys. Deion Jackson is going to be taking that role. I wouldn't be surprised if Deion Jackson has a decent day. So if he's on your waiver wire list, I'd try to pick him up. He's playing up against not the greatest matchup against Indianapolis, but I'm still picking him up. And, in a lot of leagues, either 10, 12, you might want to play him if you are lacking at a certain position. Jonathon Taylor has only found the end zone one singular time this year. That's not the JT we knew last year, right? He had about 17 or 18 touchdowns, if I am not mistaken. We're going to pull the stat up for you on the screen right now. This man is a workhorse running back who is averaging over 100 yards per game. That's not the case this year at all. And like I was saying, this offensive line looks insanely bad. Every time I watch these games, the offensive line is falling into Jonathon Taylor, not creating any holes. And it doesn't help that they got a rookie quarterback in there now, or not a rookie quarterback. I don't think he's a rookie at least, but he's brand new to this offense. Like, he's never started. Coming off of a starter like Matt Ryan, you put in Sam Ehlinger, so you have no passing game pretty much. The offense as a whole just looks horrible. Then you're going to try to just work off of Jonathon Taylor's back. It's not working. It is just not working. The stats do not look like they did the past couple of years. All right. And I know he's been injured. I understand that. So don't get on me about, he's injured. I totally understand that. Another thing, the schedule looks absolutely terrible. This week, he's not going to be playing against New England, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's a 0-point performance from you. You got the Las Vegas Raiders, which I hope to God he plays this week. And I hope to God that you take my advice and sell him after this week, because then he's got Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, which is not a bad defense. I mean, they're just on the field a lot because their offense sucks. We got Dallas, which is a really good defense. Then the final 3 weeks, Minnesota, which is all right. Chargers, which is a good matchup. And then you got the New York Giants. You're not excited about this schedule at all, I'm telling you. If you want to go ahead and trade Jonathon Taylor right now, or after he has a good game against the Las Vegas Raiders, I would definitely do so. I think you get a low-end RB1 for him after next week, or a high-end RB2. Maybe we're talking Travis Etienne straight-up trade, Dameon Pierce, Kenneth Walker. I think any of these options would be good for Jonathon Taylor, because I hate this schedule, hate this offense. I don't want anything to do with JT for the rest of the year. I'm sorry. It kills me to say it, because he was so great last year. It's just not the same team this year. Second up, we have Deandre Swift in a similar situation here, currently ranked at running back number 34. And this is a guy that you probably drafted in the second round of your draft. So an extremely disappointing year so far. He's severely struggling with his injuries this season and can't seem to stay on the field. Also, Jamal Williams is totally eating up all of this guy's work in the red zone. He's not seeing any work in the red zone. He got a lucky little touchdown last week, or else his stat line would have been absolutely atrocious. And it said that he was fully healthy, which obviously wasn't the case. They said that after he wasn't fully healthy, so I don't know what that was all about. He does actually have good stats when he's fully healthy, so I guess you could be a little bit excited about that, but I feel like Jamal Williams is proving himself to be a great running back in this league, maybe even a top 15 running back, if you want to say that, in this league. So I don't know how you can totally phase this guy out of the offense. I don't think they can. Schedule isn't amazing coming up. Let's take a look at it here. So this upcoming week, I don't know if Swift is even going to play this coming week, but we got the Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, New York Giants. All three of those are not good matchups in my opinion. You got the Buffalo Bills, horrible matchup there. Jacksonville, you can kind of be excited about. Minnesota, New York Jets, don't love that one. Carolina, and then Chicago again. It's an all right schedule. It's in the middle. After looking at it again, it's in the middle, but he has to be fully healthy for you to be excited about this. I wouldn't mind getting rid of Swift for, you know, a better player if you can in your league. You know, shop around, see what you can get for him. It's not something that I want to take the risk on. He doesn't look like he's got to sit out a couple weeks before he gets healthy, in my opinion. Next up is going to be David Montgomery. Monty over here, running back number 32. All of these running backs so far, JT is number 33, Swift is number 34, Monty's number 32. Monty was drafted a lot later than Jonathon Taylor and Deandre Swift. So, I mean, you can't really be too mad at this guy right now. I'm pretty confident that he's going to lose his job to Khalil Herbert very soon. Herbert has looked much more effective on the ground. The only positive thing for Monty here is that his target share is higher from the backfield. Herbert's just way more effective when running the ball, but Monty gets a lot more targets. Even, I wouldn't even say a lot, like 2 to 3 more targets per game. If he has a good week against Miami this weekend, I would be looking to pawn him off for someone better. If not, I think you have to suck it up and plop him on your bench. I don't know who you're trading this guy for at this moment, especially if he has a bad week this upcoming game against Miami. I don't really know what his value would be. I don't think it's very high for Monty, so I'm definitely hitting the panic button on him right now. I think Khalil Herbert could take over his job in a couple of weeks to the end of the season if he stays more effective. Next up might be a little bit of a shocker for you. It's going to be number 4 on the list, Gabe Davis. And you might be saying to yourself,
the stats aren't terrible for Gabe Davis. I don't know why you're freaking out about him.
I'm sounding the panic alarm here because this was supposed to be Gabe Davis's breakout year, right? You're on the Buffalo Bills, who throw the ball 98% of the plays. You're the wide receiver 2 behind Diggs, so you shouldn't be getting the best coverage on the team. Should be on Diggs every time. Gabe Davis should be seeing the second best corners, but he's not really producing the way you would want it to. The targets and the catches are the real main red flag for me here. He hasn't seen a week with over 5 catches thus far, and he's been very big play dependent. You remember a couple weeks ago when he had 3 catches, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You really think that's going to be obtainable on a weekly basis? If he can get open deep and they can hit him once per game, you're jumping for joy here. But this past week, 2 receptions, 35 yards, 5.5 fantasy points, and then a couple other weeks here that you see on screen, 6.7, 2.3. Then you got those massive weeks, like, I wouldn't even call them massive weeks. 32 is a massive week. 16.4 and 18.8 are kind of like in the middle to upper average. I'm not too confident playing Gabe Davis on a weekly basis. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot more wide receivers in the league with higher floors than Gabe Davis and also higher ceilings than him, if we're being totally honest, because he's the wide receiver 2 in Buffalo right now. Number 5 is not going to be a shocker at all. Let Russ cook it up, baby. Courtland Sutton. You thought I was going to be talking about Russell Wilson. That would have been too obvious here.
That's right, baby.
We're talking about Courtland Sutton. These past 3 weeks have been a hot load of crap for Courtland Sutton. I don't even know what we're looking at. He's unstartable right now. He's supposed to be the wide receiver 1, but Jerry Jeudy has just ripped that right away from him. It's not even a question right now. Jerry Jeudy looks so much better than him. He's failed to catch more than 3 passes in 3 straight games now. Panicking. I'm panicking on Courtland Sutton. I'm panicking on this whole offense. Jerry Jeudy looks like the only bright spot here. I was honestly hoping he'd be traded to save this season for him in fantasy. That is not the case. Maybe he'll do all right the rest of the season, but I don't really know. Courtland Sutton does have a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way. Let's take a look at it here. All right, so for the rest of the season, we got Tennessee, which is a good matchup. Las Vegas, great matchup. Carolina, not a bad matchup. Baltimore, great matchup. Kansas City, great matchup. Arizona, it's all right. Los Angeles Rams, it's all right. Kansas City again. This is the only bright spot for this Broncos team here. If you're holding on to Courtland Sutton, I don't even know what you can trade for Sutton at this point. It's a disaster here in Denver. Up to number 6 here. I'm panicking on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back number 21 currently, which isn't that bad. But if you look at these stats here, he's seeing a lot less touches on a week-to-week basis to Pacheco and also Jerick McKinnon. Less than 10 carries, 6 of the 7 weeks so far. He's supposed to be the number 1 running back in Kansas City, and I believe he just lost that job last week to Pacheco. Even though it didn't seem like it, Pacheco didn't have a pop-off game or anything like that, and the snap count was pretty similar. I don't think he regains that role. He hasn't had a reception in the last 2 weeks now, which is a big red flag because the first couple of games in the season, that's where Edwards-Helaire thrived was the receptions out of the backfield. Seeing none these last 2 weeks is a big red flag in my opinion. That's why I'm panicking. He does have a favorable schedule here on out, but like I said, he just lost the job to Pacheco last week. They really like Isaiah Pacheco in this backfield. I think he gets a lot of work moving forward, and I'd much rather have Pacheco on my bench and just ready to go than have Edwards-Helaire in my starting lineup right now. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Next up won't be a shocker whatsoever. In an offense that loves to run the ball a million times a game, even more than my Eagles, we're talking about Drake London, who is a stud. Drake London should be going off this year. He looked so promising the first 3 games, but just since then, it's been terrible. It's a bad situation. It's a really bad situation. The offense hasn't been playing bad, but the offensive coordinator and the coach love to run the ball a million times, like I'm talking about, as much as they possibly can. This is a very similar situation to Kyle Pitts, who is also a stud on this team that they're not using correctly. Any other team in the league that these players are on, they're getting so many more fantasy points, so much more valuable, but it's just the worst situation possible. I don't know if it's as bad as the Broncos, but it's close, man. London hasn't eclipsed 10 points in 5 straight weeks now. I should have been panicking 2 weeks ago, but I didn't have this channel 2 weeks ago. So we're gonna panic now. Targets seem to be only decreasing as well on a weekly basis. We take a look at the stats here. We're talking about since week 5 against Tampa Bay, there on out. San Francisco, 4 targets. Cincinnati, 1 target. Carolina, 5 targets. How can you start Drake London? You cannot. I don't know what you're getting for him either. You're panicking massively on him. He's just sitting on your bench. He's got to be sitting on your bench. I don't think you can drop a guy like Drake London. I don't think you can also drop a guy like Kyle Pitts. If you did drop Kyle Pitts, like, it's such a weird situation, man. I don't know. Unless they just start passing the ball like crazy for no reason, I don't see them doing that. Well, they're in the lead for the division. They're not going to change up how they're playing. I'm not excited about Drake London the rest of the way, and I'm sorry about it. Last but not least here, number 8, Damien Harris. You're slamming the panic button on Damien Harris. He's been battling injury this entire season. I mean, since week 5 and off, he's been on and off the field here and there, you know, but he lost his role to Ramondre Stevenson. It's clear as day that the coaches, you know, everybody on the team, they love Ramondre Stevenson. Not saying Damien Harris isn't a super talented guy. Damien Harris, we've seen it in the past, has been also very touchdown dependent. He's been a guy that hasn't caught the ball out of the backfield a lot, whereas Ramondre Stevenson, good God, this man's getting like 7, 8, 9 receptions out of the backfield every single week, and you are super excited if you're a Ramondre Stevenson fan. Like myself, I own him in a couple leagues, and I am so happy about it. He's really not viable, like I'm saying, unless he finds the end zone. We're talking about Damien Harris here. Back to Damien Harris. I actually just traded for Damien Harris. I do have to admit, the only reason I did so is as a handcuff to Ramondre Stevenson. So I'm hitting the panic button on all 8 of these guys. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any differing thoughts and opinions. I would love to, you know, discuss with you guys. If you're new to the channel, which you probably are, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up, subscribe. It would really help me out in the long run. I appreciate you guys a lot. Have a great day. Also, one more thing. Good luck in your week 9 matchups.